Sports radio station 99.3 Nigeria Info. Welcome to the Big Hard Facts. I did tell you that we're going to be talking security today, and it is my pleasure to introduce to you. He's not a stranger to Nigeria Info, but of course, it's his first time on Hard Facts, and I'm very excited to have him on the show today. Retired Commodore Kunle Olawumi is joining us on Hard Facts this evening. Good evening, Commodore. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you've been waiting for almost 45 minutes. That shows that a military man never changes, always on time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Perfect. Let me start by, I know, even I, as a journalist, I think I cannot count how many times I've had to talk about the issue of insecurity in this country, how many operatives or either serving or former, security operatives I've had to have these conversations with over and over again. And the greatest or the best of ideas are actually churned out. But then at the end of the day, we find ourselves right where we started. And so I want to start off this conversation by asking, why are we still seemingly running around in circles on the issue of insecurity in this country?
Thank you very much for that question. As I've said in some fora, governance is not a rocket science. For you to be in a position of authority, for you to be in a position of governing other people, there are three indices that you need to have. One is your intellect, your capacity, your character. You see, if you don't have intellect or integrity, you cannot be in a position of power. And if you don't have the capacity, then it's a minus. But one of the important things is character. Look at the people that we have in politics. Can we say they have character? But most importantly, they should have courage. We don't have people with courage in governance.
Really?
So why are we running around in circles? It's just because we don't have people that are qualified to be in position of power, parading themselves as senators, ministers, and so on. And if you don't have these characteristics, your country is going to continue to run in circle. You need to have integrity. We don't have proof of integrity. You need to have capacity. Most of the people in politics don't have capacity. You need to have character. Most of them don't have character. And you must have courage to be able to face the odious task. We know people that are sponsoring the narratives. I said it many times. We know them. The intelligence organizations know them. But if you don't have the courage, and that's why I said the most important thing in this context is courage. If you don't have courage and you want to be a governor, you want to be a minister, you want to be an NSA, you want to be a president, and you are not courageous, you can't do it. Because unknown to most of us, the people that are running this country are not the people that you think are in APC or PDP. So if you want to really run this government, you need courage to be able to stand there and do the needful for the population that voted you into power. So if you don't have those characteristics, as I mentioned, intellect, capacity, character, and courage, you have no business being in power. And that's why the Boko Haram, they've been attacking our military institutions, because they don't have courage to call the names of those that are sponsoring them and actually try them. So garbage in, garbage out.
I want to go back as far back as 2015, 2017. At some point, the military kept telling us that they didn't know where Boko Haram was. They didn't know they were in Sambisa, but they didn't know where they were. And then, of course, now we now had Sheikh Gumi, who said, well, we know where these people are. We know I've gone there. In fact, he told us that he went to see the bandits and that these people have been abandoned by the government, and that's why they're doing what they're doing. That's one. Do we really learn from these experiences? Because some time ago, a soldier was killed in a military facility. I think it was in Kaduna. And then fast forward to 2024, Kontagora, which I hear, sir, I've never been, is one of the most highly secure training facilities that belongs to the military It's being taken over by bandits. If you say that we know the people who are sponsors of these this terrorism or these acts of terrorism, and no one's bold enough to speak up about it, does this make the government, security operatives, everyone involved in this issue of fighting or combating terrorism somewhat complicit?
Absolutely. There's no other way to approach this type of question than to say it's absolutely. And let me tell you, it's not just in Nigeria alone. Even in the United States, very big, system where you see a lot of espionage activities, sabotage activities. People compromise. Government compromise. People that are in government, they compromise. Sometimes some of them are blackmailed to compromise. There are different reasons why people do what they do, but they are complicit, as I said earlier, and most of them are compromised. And let's elevate this discussion. You see, we can take it from the tactical level to look at what is really going on. So, this is bad. Oh, they've just attacked Kotangora, one of the biggest military barracks. I mean, that's bad. But we can also look at it from the operational strategic level and say, okay, why are they doing this? Then when we interrogate the operational strategic level, then we can start looking at the policy. What is government doing? So there are different levels that we can look at this. What is the motive? Why is government looking away? And I mentioned in an interview that there's an agenda for all this.
What is the agenda? What is the agenda?
As I said, the agenda is to perhaps turn Nigeria into Turkey. It used to be like Constantinople, Ankara, where they were 98% Christians, and today it's an Islamic country. So for Nigeria to be going through this pain, and government is looking, then there's an agenda, Otherwise, I don't think it's rocket science to kick out all these boys from the bush, either in the Kotangora or in Maiduguri or in Sokoto. It's just because people that are governing you, they have an agenda. Recently, you saw what happened, and it is a shame that the people in the house are trying to snake through the back door an Islamization agenda, to remove something from the Constitution. So when you look at the trend since 2012, then it escalated 2015, 2019 when Buhari was there. Now, Tinubu is there. And now I observe that the kinetic effort by the government is paying off. Tinubu seems to be hitting hard on these people. And now suddenly we saw our House of Representatives trying to remove something from the Constitution. It's almost a treasonable offense to try to sneak into our Constitution something that is going to put everybody under an Islamic law. It's treasonable. And people are look at the other religion. Everybody is looking on as if they are maybe hypnotized.
But Commodore, do you not think that maybe most people do not understand the veracity of what's going on the floor of the National Assembly? I mean, how many people really pay attention to the proceedings on the floor of the National Assembly, whether it be the red chamber or the blue chamber?
No, you're absolutely correct. But when people like me, if I raise the alarm, then they should pay attention instead of criticizing me. They should pay attention. They could have sneaked that thing in. By the time you wake up the next morning, you're already under Islamic law. Okay, you didn't pay attention, you didn't care. Now it has been raised. What have they done? Well, who has spoken after me? It's a shame. It's a shame. This country I think we just deserve what we get. You allow these people to be running rings around you. You say you're afraid of them. Everybody is quiet until they turn this place to a Taliban place where they will start cutting your hands and raping your women and forcing you to do what you don't want to do. Now you are quiet. You are afraid. It's a shame on everybody.
I just want to push you on a little bit, Commodore. When you say that they snuck it in, the house in itself is made up of Christians and Muslims and even maybe traditional worshippers. And how it will be easy for the so-called people who tried to sneak this in, there are those who would vehemently kick against it. Shouldn't there be, in fact, that should be the question, shouldn't there be people who kick against it? Because knowing that in our constitution, yes, there is the Sharia law, and then, of course, the grand norm, which supersedes any other law. Why would I want to subject myself to what you are referring to as Islamization of a country where we're all supposed to be some sort of, I don't know. I'm trying to understand, if you get my drift. I'm trying to understand why majority of the non-Muslims on the floor of the National Assembly would allow this to be snuck in. Does it show that they're not paying attention also? Or what exactly could it be? Because there has to be an interest of sorts. And I don't think that the interest of these non-Muslims would play a part in this sneaking in that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think you are very right in your observation. They made some futile efforts, you know. Most times people are in these houses for what they can get. And when, as I suggested, if care is not taken, they're going to bribe all of them. The remaining ones that are not even Muslim or whatever, they will bribe them. They will give them what they need. Some of them will pretend not to be in their house, and we should be alert, you know. Otherwise, they will pass it. They will pass it. They made some futile attempts. Those people say against, say name, this one say yeah. They were just, you know, putting the future of our unborn generation, putting it at risk by just joking about it. Look at the economy of Nigeria. You mean they cannot discuss the economy? They cannot discuss in their house the interest rates, the inflation rate, the naira dollar rate. People are dying of hunger. The emergency system is all over in the north. You are talking about Islam, about removing persona. Is that why they should be there? These people are heartless. You should be discussing how the population can get out of this economic quagmire. That's why they are paid to be there. But what they go in there to do is somebody will pay them some money to go and instigate this kind of crisis, because they are trying to look for crisis. Why should you be discussing removing something from the constitution when you know that right now all the roads in Nigeria are bad? There's no good hospitals. Even our politicians, they travel outside for hospitals. The educational system has collapsed. The unemployment rate is, you know, over the roof. Families are all over the place. So what is important? The priority for these people in the house, their priority is to remove personnel. Now, let me also tell you that for me as a strategist, I believe that this is even something to actually distract us, you know, from the main issue of the economy. I mean, the economy is so bad. People are protesting, people are going on strike. And I think technically, you know, as a strategist, I want to even advise government to fly this type of flag, you know, just raise this type of issue so that they can keep us busy talking about Islamization. Meanwhile, they are stealing all the money, they are getting loans, and they are passing tax bills and killing the average, you know, Nigerians. So I think, you know, having a benefit of hindsight now, I think it's just a distraction. And this is just a way to distract all of us from the main issue of economic, political, social challenges that we have right now. If you have children in school abroad, you are going to have problems. I have friends that they cannot pay school fees. So instead of us facing this type of thing, I cannot travel by road from Lagos to Abuja. I'm not sure we arrive. If I'm not captured by Janjaweeds, The roads will stop me. Peter
Okay.
Obi recently was stopped, So I think they should be discussing this type of issues, not removing personnel.
Okay.
And if they sneak in, we're going to be in trouble. My
Commodore,
dear, we're going to be in trouble.
I want to crave your indulgence. We need to go on a quick break. When we come back, I want us to talk because you're saying that the president seems to be working in that direction, but we're not feeling it. And then, of course, the number of people that die or are killed every day as a result of terrorism is just numbers to us. They're not people any longer. Why do you think we've sunk to that level where it's no longer, it doesn't mean anything to us? Just hold that thought. We'll be back after the break. Retired Commodore Kunle Olaomi is still with us. We're talking about security in Nigeria. We'll be right back after these messages.
Welcome back to your number one talk, news, and sports station. This is Nigeria Info.
This is Hard Facts.
Yes, it is Hard Facts, and we are on the home stretch. We're talking insecurity in the country and the resoluteness of the government of the day to tackle the situation. My guest suggests that, there seems to be some level of willingness, but then he thinks that there's some conspiracy as to speaking up about this issue, naming the people who are the sponsors of this insecurity in the country. I remember, Commodore, that there was a time where the UAE sent us one list saying, in fact, they prosecuted some people on their soil. But up until today, and this was under the Buhari administration, until today, that list has not seen the light of day. The military, rank and file, the NSA at the time, and even the presidency has done nothing about it. And here we are under another dispensation. One would have thought that would have been one of the first things that this administration would have done. Here we are, nothing still being done. And you're here saying that there is some conspiracy of silence. Is there any truth to something that Mr. Dele Alake had said some time ago, that the people who are behind the issue of insecurity in Nigeria, the illegal mining, are powerful people in the country? And I ask you, sir, who's more powerful than the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Yeah, a lot of us will think like this until when I actually have access to some information, there's what we call the deep state. Even at international environment, we have the deep state, You would think it's the United Nations that is, looking at the supranational characteristics of that organ. But it is not. There are people, the Rothschild family, they're just people that actually govern the world, The same thing in Nigeria. It's not Tinubu or Buhari that really sometimes, the way it looks on the surface, that's not how it works. There are some people that actually work for the higher level of deep state managers because of interest in economic currency, oil, and so many things, power, money, and control. So Alake, somebody that is known to me, I know that before they went into government, they were determined, they're going to do this, they're going to tear everything down. But it's when you get to the power, then you will understand that there are people that runs the country. This is a fact. Some people will say I'm saying blasphemy. They will say, he talks too much. But these are facts. There are people that runs the country. And that's why it looks like, Tinubu is powerless, You just see him behaving as if, you'll be wondering, it's not the same Tinubu that was with us, But you see that they just be behaving like Mumu sometimes, as if they don't know what they're doing. That's because there are the deep state that really runs the show. If they ask him to increase the tax so that he can get money to pay your debt, he is going to do that. If they ask him to increase the fuel prices, whatever they ask him, there are people that runs the puppet show. Wow. And we must understand this so that we can also have some, let me say, pity. We have to pity them. Sometimes it's not their fault. We have the the hostile intelligence services that are governing us since 1900 to 1960, the British and their likes. Then from 1960 to 1980s, they have always been there, taking your oil. How can you be? Why should Dangote be importing crude oil from the United States? Because they've mortgaged all your crude oil. So some people are taking your crude oil while you are just complaining.
Wow.
So I think what we need to do is to have sympathy for some of these people that, they got into position of power without really knowing the depth. Is very deep. It's very deep. And I think what we need to do is to understand democracy is not really, it's not good for the ignorance. We are ignorant, and democracy may not be as good as we think.
Where does that leave us, Commodore? Where, because, like I said, it's just mere numbers now. When we announced that this person died or these people were killed, remember how we started 2024? People were killed unwantedly in Plateau State. We saw the massacre. And here we are in November. They've taken over a large military facility. And we're not even talking about it, Commodore. If I didn't bring you to talk about this, we're not talking about it. We're talking about treason and some young children who were paraded in front of the camera for the whole world to see. We're not talking about it. So, again, it makes me really buy into this conspiracy theory that really something bigger is going on that, we might not necessarily understand. So, where does that leave the average Nigerian? Where do we go from here? How many more people have to die for us to wake up and smell the coffee?
My dad is very complicated. I've been in this fight for a long time. I've basically sacrificed my life. Some of my guys that we do this together, most of them are dead. So I've gone very deep into it. I've seen that it's a very complicated issue. The people you are fighting for, you see, as I speak now, I'm speaking for the downtrodden. I'm speaking for the poor people. But do you know that the people that will chastise me after this interview are the poor people?
Oh, wow. Wow.
Go and watch some of my interviews. Go and look at some of the comments by the poor, wretched people that I am sacrificing my life for to fight the system that are turning us to this. The people that I'm fighting for are the one that will abuse me, abuse my family, and said that I'm just talking,
Wow. So
it is very complicated. The poor people have been so psychologically destroyed. Their soul has been destroyed with poverty that they are always angry with each other. They're always fighting. As I'm talking now, some of them are very annoyed that I'm even talking.
Wow.
They have psychological trauma. So the poor people you are fighting for are fighting you that you are trying to rescue them. So when Jesus Christ came to die for, who are the people? He came for the sinners and for the poor people. But they gathered together and killed him. That's what I'm saying is very complicated. Now, I will be fighting the people, the powers that be. Then the people I'm trying to see how they can get out of some of this poverty and corruption that is killing the entire fabric of the nation. They will also rise against me.
Commodore, I want to take a few calls before I let you go. I know we've all had a long day and you've been waiting to have this conversation for a while. I'm at a loss, and I'm never at a loss for words. I always know what to say at all times. But at this point, I think I'm just going to let the callers do the talking. Let's take a few calls. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Megan, good evening.
Good evening. You have 30 seconds, please. Go straight to the point.
My name is Robert. My point, sir, you are a commodore, and at least you were paid from the end. My question is, today we hear 20,000 the kids. These people that are causing security.
Robert, unfortunately your line is very dodgy and we can barely hear you, so please call us back, okay, if you can. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Yeah.
Good afternoon. Yes, what's your name, sir? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Chinedu.
Chinedu, go ahead.
I'm calling from Iba.
30 seconds.
Yeah, Commodore. May God bless you. You've really spoken my mind. Yeah, these people you see, these elites, they are trying to destroy. They've almost succeeded in destroying this nation. They want to Islamize the country in one way or the other, but we know God will see us through. May God bless you for speaking out, my brother.
All right.
God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling. Hello, welcome to Hard Facts.
Hello, good evening, Mary and hello?
Good evening. Go ahead. You have 30 seconds, Godwin. Go ahead.
It's okay, my name is Godwin. Now, in view of all that you have narrated with the current situation in the country, the people that are in the bush, in their trenches under rain and storm, fighting to see that peace in this country is maintained. And those who retired, the armed forces, their entitlement right from last year,
5 seconds,
or 20% pension, this and that, nothing has been done. How do you think, under this condition, those that are in now, they will have a high morale to do the needful?
All right, thank you.
The military retirees are not being taken care of.
Thank you, Godwin, for calling. Commodore, do you want to respond?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question because I'm a member of the One Star Veteran Association. You know, I left as a one-star general, and we have an association that actually tried to look at the corruption that is inherent in trying to pay some of the entitlements of the people that have retired. If you talk on air, people will think you are making mouth. I know what I went through in the military. And I know a lot of my colleagues that have lost their life, more than 50% of my colleagues, And now that you are retired, they don't want to pay some of your entitlements. And this has been an issue. So the Godwin or whoever the last caller
Godwin is a retired soldier, actually.
Yeah, it's making a lot of sense, A few days ago, a lot of people left the army, People are living in drones, even the Navy. Some people are just leaving because they are looking at how they are treating the retired ones. And they are thinking, is it going to be my fate, when I leave? The Buhari government tried, but some of the money that was released by Tinubu along the line for palliative and some other things, some people maybe sat on it and it's been an issue to get those money out. Some of the families of the late soldiers have been well taken care of. Issue of insurance, issue of health issues, they're not being well catered for, and it's beginning to raise its doors. Don't be surprised during the next Remembrance Days, you are going to see maybe some veterans coming out to disrupt that program. So
wow,
it's something that I think Tinubu has to pay attention to.
Commodore, unfortunately, that's all the time we have, but I hate that we're ending on this very sad note because recently the army was calling for people to join, and with this story that you're telling, no one's going to join because they already see what their future holds for them in terms of how they will be treated by the government. But I want to commend you. Thank you very much for always coming on to speak truth to power. Stay safe. Thank you so much, Commodore, for coming on the show. We appreciate you.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Retired Commodore Kunle Olawumi there speaking with us on Hard Facts. Well, David is here with some information. When he's done, of course, I will be saying my goodbye. Stay with us.